Leute, willkommen auf meinem Kanal und ich starte direkt los mit der nächsten Reaction. Eigentlich wollte ich ein ganz anderes Video machen, aber ich komme wieder bei einer Reaction an, weil Call of Duty oder Activision baut schon wieder geisteskranke Kacke. Und zwar, ich schalte es direkt rein, es kam ein neues Video raus und zwar von Private Pete. So, wir schauen direkt rein in das Video. Ich bin sehr gespannt. Ich habe es selber noch nicht gesehen. Also, wenn das wirklich so ist und die haben Zugriff auf unsere Kamera und andere Sachen auf der dann wird es jetzt richtig big. Dann wird es richtig big. Und das zum Thema Delta Force sei schlimm, ne?
Is incredibly in-depth and precise. However, it's a little difficult to understand for an everyday average gamer, so I'm going to simplify and relay this information to you in a way where it's widely accessible. Branch-Off Bush has been trying to get the attention of the mainstream Call of Duty community for a while, but
Video hänge ich natürlich unten ran.
The information yet. This tweet shows him tagging a bunch of larger creators in the Call of Duty community, telling them that he helped a government agency expose the fact that Activision executes software that has unrestricted access to your computer's camera. But it's a lot more than just that. This is going to expose a lot of what Activision is doing behind the scenes, not just with manipulating the game, but also with your computer or console as well. I'm going to teach some complex computer things here in a short time, so pay attention and get ready to get rocked. We've never outed anything like this before. The first thing I need to explain is something called a DLL file. DLL stands for Dynamic Link Library, and it is, put very simply, a file that runs in the background of your computer that contains code that multiple programs can
Also die DLL läuft im Hintergrund, während ihr zockt.
Access at the same time. For example, if a program needs to access your camera, like Zoom or Skype, instead of the developers needing to write code within that software to control your camera, they can instead tell the software to access a DLL file that is already on your computer to access the video feed of your camera. It's basically a shortcut for developers. Instead of recoding functions that your computer can already do, they just tell the software to access a toolbox of code that is already capable of doing that. In the simplest terms possible, why build a hammer from scratch with your own resources when you can just reach into your toolbox and pull one out? This being said, Branch-Off Bush, when helping this government agency find out what Activision was up to behind the scenes, used software that detects what DLL files a certain program was accessing while it was running. First, he tested this software on Black Ops 1 while playing combat training. He found that it accessed only a single suspicious DLL file.
Also das lief schon vorher.
File called ntdll.dll.
Das ist der quasi dieses Shortcut, dieses ntdll.dll.
Now, bear with me here. Black Ops 1 was designed to run on both 32 and 64-bit systems, or newer and older
Black Ops 1 was designed to run
systems at the same time. But since Black Ops 1 was also compatible with Windows XP, an older operating system, the game was accessing this DLL file in order to utilize the resources necessary to translate the game over to a 64-bit system from a 32-bit origin. Put simply, Call of Duty was accessing this DLL file present in Windows in order to make an older game compatible on a newer system. So it is not suspicious activity. The game simply requires code that Windows already possessed so that the devs didn't need to code their own translation software. Rather, they pulled from the DLL toolbox that already existed on Windows. So that was a total mouthful, but it sets up the absolute bombshell that I'm about to drop next. When using the same software that detects what DLL files a certain program is potentially utilizing maliciously, but this time on Modern Warfare 3 2023, the software found something that would shock you. The first list of utilized DLLs when Black Ops 1 was investigated was this big. Only 6 DLL files were utilized by Black Ops 1, and none were suspicious or malicious. When the software was run on Modern Warfare 3 2023, the list was this.
What? Das sind alles... Yo! What? Das ist ein Brett. Es ist ja ein Brett, wie viele Shortcuts das sind.
Big. Holy smokes. For context, and not just because Black Ops 6 is more modern, bro, XDefiant uses, you guessed it, 0 DLLs when it was tested with
XDefiant hat nicht ein DLS, ja?
The same software. The game accesses a lot of your computer's functionality, but hold on. There's one in particular that stands out from the rest. While I will grant that a lot of these files are innocent, this one right here is cause for great alarm.
Da, nvkamera64.dll. Das ist quasi der Shortcut zu eure Kamera.
nvcamera64.dll. Whoa. Now we're getting somewhere. Call of Duty is using files in your computer that are designed to access your camera's video feed, even when you don't have a webcam active. Call of Duty, immediately on startup, has direct access to your camera, despite the game and anti-cheat not at all requiring camera access. Not a single function within Call of Duty requires such a thing to be active.
What the fuck?
Why is it active? Well, look no further than this Activision-owned and created patent. Methods and systems to modify a
Ihr
two-dimensional
könnt theoretisch durchgehend einfach eure Kamera aktivieren und durchgucken, während ihr zockt.
facial image to increase dimensional depth and generate a facial image that appears three-dimensional. Why on God's green earth does this patent need to exist? The scariest part is that this image included in the patent's resources displays a player's face overlaid over their gameplay. The footnote that describes this image reads as the following. In embodiments, the expressions/reactions of movements of image 1504, which is this image right here, reflect the user's expressions/reactions and movements in real time. This software is capable of using your camera to read and analyze your reactions and emotions. And the game is also
Die Reaktion von euch selber aufzunehmen, wie ihr reagiert während dem Spielen.
confirmed to be accessing your camera as soon as the game starts up. But then we have to ask, why is Call of Duty getting access to your camera the moment the game boots up? It's not to design a 3D model of your face for graphic design purposes, or maybe it is, I don't know. But
Das wäre auch witzig. Bald sieht man uns alle als Operator im Spiel.
Is Activision created or perhaps patented that would need camera access in order to get the most benefit out of it? Well, we return once again to one of our favorite patents, system and method for driving microtransactions in multiplayer video games. And here is where I drop the bombshell. We can see right here in this patent that Activision has designed a system that does a few things by reading the emotional state of a player using visuals. Firstly, in this section right here, it reads, examples of quality factors include, without limitation, a player quitting a match or gameplay session while other players are still playing, indicating satisfaction, blah, 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 until we get right here. A player engagement factor.
Aber engagement factor, a speed of player input, a level of focus determined from camera peripherals.
E.g., a speed of player input, a level of focus as determined from camera peripherals, etc., where greater engagement may indicate greater satisfaction. So in this patent, a camera is used to analyze the emotional state of a player. Another section reads, the quality factors may include, for example, the duration of a gameplay session, e.g. via analysis of player historical data, player psychological state, e.g. frustration level, and or other information. So Activision has created methods and systems that read player emotions in order to drive microtransactions and rig the matchmaking. And the best part? The patent that...
Alter, sogar wenn ihr was im Shop kauft, wie ihr reagiert.
Creates 3D facial images out of 2D images is cited within the microtransaction patent. And they have an AI that listens to your microphone in game chat, so the game has unrestricted camera access, can see your face and hear your voice without you giving them permission to see your face or hear your voice outside of voice chat. Unless somewhere in the terms of service there is a loophole that we sign up
und Amerika hat Angst, dass TikTok überwacht, ne?
Which I wouldn't be too surprised about. This is really bad. So Call of Duty has camera access as soon as the game starts up, and Activision has patents that suggest that a camera can be used in-game to measure your engagement levels and do whatever else it wants to do. Remember, when Branchoff Bush did this text with XDefiant, no DLL files were pulled at all, meaning the game wasn't using anything on the system to run the game, and the game was executing all of its own
Also XDefiant hatte nichts, ne? So soll es ja auch sein.
XDefiant, a game without manipulative matchmaking and a transparent dev team, doesn't use any DLL processes, not one, nor does it do any other kind of engagement measurement. But then we get to Call of Duty, where we can feel something is quite off about the game, and we suddenly discover the game has unrestricted camera feed access, as well as patents about
also das mit der Kamera ist halt krass.
That cites a patent that uses a camera to model a 3D face out of a 2D image. I wonder what they could be trying to do. But this next patent seals the deal. May I present to you methods and systems for continuing to execute a simulation after processing resources go offline. Already the name of this patent is incredibly off-putting, but then you read into what it's capable of doing, and you start to really question what's going on. Get ready for this one. A system and method is provided that simulates gameplay of non-player characters, NPCs, distributed across networked end-user devices. The system may identify end-user devices that are connected to the system through a network and are available to participate in a simulation in which each participant participating end-user device is provided with one or more NPCs to be executed. An end-user device may be available to participate when it has sufficient computing capacity, such as when in an idle or standby state. As such, the system may leverage spare computing capacity of networked end-user devices to execute NPCs at networked end-user devices during a simulation. In this manner, the behavior of an NPC may be tested using real-world connections that may affect gameplay, such as network connection quality, user-to-user game engine coordination and data exchanges, and or other real-world conditions associated with networked end-user devices. That's wicked complex, but this is essentially what is called a botnet, which is a computer virus, which is a felony. For those of you who don't know, botnets are a network of computers that have been artificially connected by malware or a virus. Within a botnet, the combined computing power of every computer is used to more efficiently perform fraudulent activity, such as generate more spam emails, DDoS a website, steal data, mine cryptocurrency, or spread malware to link even more systems into
Eigentlich musst du jetzt das Game komplett boykottieren, ne?
the botnet. Put simply, a botnet is a virus that links multiple computers together and uses their combined computing power to more efficiently perform whatever tasks the controller wants them to do. It's hijacking computers as zombie batteries for a shady operation. That being said, this patent looks like they simply patented a botnet, which again is an illegal virus that hijacks your computer's processing power, because it's networking computers that have Call of Duty together in order to run simulations, theoretically. If we reference another patent, it essentially describes how Network is creating methods to make AI NPC players that are indistinguishable from real human beings. This is another favorite pattern of mine. This is incredibly useful to them because in order to toss engaging matches, they now don't have to rely on finding the right human being for the job. They can simply put you into a match that is perfectly tailored for your engagement, and you have no idea it's actually a simulation with no real human beings. Having recently apparently proved that AI bots are now in CoD, you can see where I'm going with this. And just recently, we've discovered that on Steam, the game doesn't close properly. It has processes that stay open once you quit. You think something might be going on here? These two patents together, executing a simulation when resources go
Aber
offline.
wundert mich auch nicht mehr, ne? Wenn man DirectX-Fehler hat oder das Spiel beendet, dass es einfach eine Stunde braucht, bis dieses Game mal runterfährt.
Train NPCs in real-world conditions, and creating NPCs that are indistinguishable from human beings, we can start to assemble the puzzle pieces. And it's not pretty. They're using your computer, yes, yours, to train NPC AI players on the side while you're not even in the game, i.e., while your processing resources go offline. And the same can be probably said.
Ja, einfach, wenn du nicht zockt, ne? Im Endeffekt trainiert das Spiel im Hintergrund selber die AI.
Consoles as well. It's using your computer's processing power and resources in the background in order to train AI bots that play Call of Duty, and you're connected to other players' PCs as well through the network they've created. At least that's what the patent details. It networks a bunch of computers that have CoD installed together, then uses that processing power to run simulations with these NPC bots so that they can learn how to appear more indistinguishable from human beings. They're using the processing power of your computer and your console without you knowing to train their own NPC bots to further perpetuate the manipulative nature of the game and turn it even more into the Matrix. And I'll throw in one more thing for you. What if this AI player your PC is being used to train is almost an exact one-to-one copy of how you play? Here's a detail other creators have missed. Having access to the NVCamera64.dll doesn't only mean your webcam. It means it has access to the contents of your screen. So that means when you're playing, some kind of software within Call of Duty is requesting to have access to the actual video feed of your monitor. Does that mean that it's gathering gameplay data from your perspective in order to train an AI version of you? It's not out of the question considering what Activision has patented and what Activision is shown to do by accessing your video feed.
Sie werden
There's no way
kopiert.
to 1000% prove this just yet, but the fact they've patented a botnet, which is a system that is literally a felony, goes to show that they maybe aren't the most ethical company in the world. However, seeing as we have proved that Call of Duty gets access to your camera even when there isn't one connected, which suggests that it's actually watching your screen and your gameplay, and there's no other reason to access the camera unless we relay it back to the patents.
Es macht halt einfach keinen Sinn, dass sie Zugriffe haben.
Manipulates matchmaking and gameplay for the sake of making as much money as possible. We get a case that is incredibly suspicious. And the only counter argument is one of pure cognitive dissonance. This is bad. and it's undeniable. Call of Duty doesn't need access to your camera for the gameplay to function properly.
Die haben null
but for
Rechte,
some
irgendwo
reason,
zuzugreifen,
it's accessing your
aber
camera anyways as soon as the game boots up, and it's literally been proven that it does, and that
das
should
ist
terrify
echt,
you.
das ist
Along
harter
with the
Tobak,
Botnet patent, we
Leute.
should be very scared of what's coming next. This game can read our facial expressions and is potentially using our computer's computing resources to train AI NPCs that they're going to toss into the matchmaking to make the game the most manipulative, dopamine drip-feeding matrix simulator we've ever experienced in gaming. And all the naysayers are just going to let it happen because it sounds too much like a conspiracy. You'll be thanking people like Branch Off Bush and me and Blame Truth years from now if Activision gets outed for doing these things and they shut it down. But
ich bin
that's all I
gespannt,
got for now.
ob es da
Let me know your
ein
thoughts in the
Statement oder
comments and
irgendeine
go
Info
subscribe
gibt.
to Branch Off Bush. He's got crazy information on his channel. I'm Prime Pete. Be safe out there.
Also, das ist auf jeden Fall krass. Hier direkt mal Daumen nach oben. Das ist krass. Also, haut mal, also alle hier unten in die Kommentare rein, wie ihr das seht, zu der Lage. Haut mal unten in die Kommentare. Nicht vergessen, lasst ein Abo da, wenn euch sowas gefällt. Wenn es Infos gibt zu Call of Duty, Daumen nach oben, wenn ihr solche Infos auch gut findet, dass ich sowas rausballer und das online stelle. Und in die Kommentare rein, ja, die aktuelle Call of Duty Situation. Wir sehen uns von Montag bis Freitag ab 6 Uhr live auf Twitch. Haut rein.